Never thought this week would come, and really excited about it's finally here in this game week. And what I'm really excited about just see our football team and just see how we'll take the field there on Saturday and how we go play. And I just told them it's all about just having fun. It's about playing with energy, about playing with emotion, and just being a total football team where we play well on offense, play well on defense, and also in the special teams. But I'm just so excited for our seniors. It's a group that has shown no resentment at all, has provided leadership. That's what I'm really excited about with this group of guys, because when you take over a program and you take over a program so rich in tradition, so much pride, that sometimes some guys don't want to do what you ask them to do. But this group has not even turned down that road, which has been really great. And it's been really good for our coaches. And I tell them all the time, guys, it's about us putting the T back into Texas. It's still about just toughness. It's about trust. It's about just being a total team. And if we can get that accomplished this week, then we're going to have us a good week. But we still have this week to finish up and continue with our focus and continue our preparation and just lead on into Saturday. But just excited. And I know this week of practice is going to be so much excitement for our players, because I think themselves they want to get back out on the field and just show what it's all about. January just seemed like a long ways away, but now it's finally arrived for us.
If you have a question, Roger.
Coach, can you speak to your emotion from the time you walked in over there in January and this day coming was a long way away, and now it's here? What's it been like, and what are your emotions right now?
Well, I just remember that day. It was so much press when I walked in that door. My daughter hit me, Haley. She's like, "Oh, my God, Dad, look at all these cameras." And I said, "Oh, that's what it's all about." But you're right. It's just sitting there on January now to finally get to this time. It is a lot of emotion. But I just, you try to set it aside, because you still had to go get a football team prepared and ready to go play. And it's going to be a great build-up, not only for me, but also for the players.
Raise your hand if you have one. We'll get you a mic.
Coach, can you speak to Jackson Shipley's availability this week?
Well, Ship is still day by day, and I think it will come down to a game day decision. But he's working. I think on Saturday was the first time that we really had a chance to just put him in some drills. Didn't go the whole practice because we still had to be very careful about his injury.
Go ahead, Kurt.
Charlie, is there anything that people, fans, media are sleeping on about this team? And what is your biggest concern about this team going into the season?
So what are we sleeping on?
Are you much better in any?
Oh, I don't know if we're much better, but just looking at this football team, we know that we're nowhere near where we should be. We've had a lot, 3 weeks of work here, and we want to get better each and every day. It's been a couple of days where I didn't really feel very happy with the way we practice, but other than that, they have came out, they've competed well, and what's great is that when you can put the ball down and you don't even stretch half the time, you go right to goal line, you can just see what type of football team you have. And so I've done that 2 or 3 times, just put the ball down, tell Coach Moore, we don't need to stretch today, just put the ball down, let's go right to goal line, then they go to individual and just go off to practice. But you're just trying to set the tone for practice. When I look at this team, and you just think about leadership, and that's what it's all about with this group of seniors. And it's a really good senior class. When you talk about Espinosa, you talk about Hicks, you talk about Ced Reed, you talk about Malcolm Brown, you talk about Ship, you have Ash, who's been here 4 years, but you have a really good, strong group with Mikael Thompson, with Diggs, guys that have been here. And I told that group of seniors, I said that I know when you guys signed on, it was all about just reestablishing the foundation here in this program. Now you have a chance to get that done your senior year. Well, the biggest concern is you're always concerned about just the depth. You're always concerned about just going to bed at night, just how you're really going to go out and go play.
Raise your hand if you have a question.
Charlie, you talked before about how this team doesn't have an identity yet. Do you expect starting Saturday, you want this team to be known for a run-oriented, physical, grinding kind of offense? Or how would you describe it?
Well, you have to be very multiple on offense. You got to be able to mix the run and the pass. But at the end of the day, you want to be able to run the football. You have 2 good backs in Malcolm Brown and Jay Gray, and you have an unbelievable quarterback who's had an unbelievable preseason camp with Ash, where you can play action pass and get the ball down the field. The thing we're probably missing right now is just a receiver that can really go get it. And I always talk about, when I talk about wide receivers, just throw a guy a hitch out there and just see if he can make a guy miss and take the ball 30 or 40 yards. If we can get get those things established, then we should be pretty good on offense. And then just defensively, we need to be aggressive on defense. We need to tackle well, but we also need to come with pressure, and guys need to be able to cover and get off blocks.
Coach, on the other side of the ball is obviously your identity, the defensive side. You've seen plenty of defenses. You know what it's like going from camp into the season, what they look like, and then how they perform. How close is this defense to what you want it to be as you head into game one?
Well, Chad, the experience is what helps this defense. When you look up front, you have 3 guys that are returning with Said, with Malcolm, then with Tank Jackson, then your backers with Santos Edmonds, and then you have a chance to get Hicks back and Jinx outside. Then you look in the secondary with Diggs and McHale and then Duke. So you have that. You have some veterans, the guys who have played, guys who have been in the line of battle when you get out there on that football field. So you expect the defense to be ahead of the offense, but just because of the leadership you have, but also with the experience. And this group has been fun because now that we can add more with this group because they can handle more. And that's the way it is when you installation, when you install and a guy can just piece it together and you can just each and every day add more and more, then you can see what type of defense because you have a veteran set of guys.
Coach, in a perfect world, would you like to play 2 quarterbacks on Saturday night if things go as expected?
If they go the way we expected, we'd like to get them both in the game. But we're gonna go with Ash. He's our starter, and like I said, has had an unbelievable camp. And then we'd like to get the other one in if we can.
Charlie, can you say what the plan is on the offensive line and its safety for this game?
Well, Chip, we still need to continue to work through. Probably by midweek, we will know exactly where we are with the offensive line in our secondary. But we're still piecing it together, and we have the guys there now. It's just all about us as coaches making sure that the right ones are there, and we can get what we need out of the offensive line and out of the secondary.
In the back, Chris.
Charlie, you've said multiple times already that David Ash has had an unbelievable camp. What's made him so good? What have you seen from him that you like so much?
Well, Chris, it's all about when you get a quarterback and you have a new offense, it's just how much he can grasp that offense and how much he's willing to learn and study. And that's what he's been able to do, just learn the offense and study it. And the thing you like with your quarterback position, because you always tell him this, I don't need a great play. I just need you to manage and do what we ask you to do. And that's what. And you don't want to see the ball turned over, but he's been able to make the throws at practice, been able to get us in the right checks, but just get us in the right place.
North Texas is a team that's rebuilding in a lot of ways. They still haven't named a quarterback yet, but you guys are big favorites in this. What do you think Saturday night is more about you guys than it is what the opponent does?
Well, Brian, it's all about what we do, and I told our player, it's never about the opponent, it's about us, and it's about how well we go out and compete and how well we go play and just how we play together as a team, because we get those things established. It doesn't matter who you line up against, because it's all about you and making sure that you're giving your best effort and just playing with relentless effort from 4 to 6 seconds. But it has to be about us and our football team, where we know that each and every week we have to go get better and better.
Coach, you talked about the players wanting to get out there and show what they can do. Do you feel any pressure is on you going into this week?
No, I've been doing this a long time. I feel no pressure at all because you know what happens when you're prepared. Why feel like you have pressure placed on you? When you have your good football team and you place them out there and you let them go to work and let your work will speak. And then I tell them that, hey, you guys, your work gonna speak for yourself out of how well you go out and go play. But I don't feel no pressure. You liked that, didn't you? I saw you smile.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Charlie, how will the offensive plays be called? Will Sean call them all? Will Joe have some influence? What's the plan?
No, we have 2 coordinators, so they would be split up. And the thing about it, when you have 2 coordinators, they're on the same page. They're over a meeting right now, so it's just not one of those where you guys will be arguing over, I want this play or that play. They're professionals. They've been in this business a long time, so they'll be able to manage it.
Coach, you and Dan McCarney have some history. What's his personality? What do you expect out of a Dan McCarney team?
Well, me and Matt go back to our days at Florida, and I was sitting there telling a joke. He always wanted a Coke and Twizzlers. That's all he would eat. And then he had those little small Snicker bars that he ate all the time. So we always laugh at him because, he eat lunch and then he go right to that Coke. but he was always just wired, just always a lot of energy. And I know his team will be well coached because he did a great job when he was at Iowa State also. And just look at the job he's done there at North Texas, 9 wins, go and beat UNLV in the bowl game. But that team will be well coached. And the thing about him is his coaches, they'll be very prepared for us.
That's similar to your diet, Coke and Twizzlers?
Yeah, it's my diet. I can't drink that Coke.
You and North Texas both want to play a run-dominated style, and you look around college football, Michigan State won their conference, Stanford doing so well out west with pro-style power game. Are people kind of overlooking maybe the pro-style offense and what it's still able to accomplish?
Well, Ryan, when you just study teams and you look across the country and you just look at teams that win, you have to go around the football, and what that does is just shows what type of team you are. You look at Alabama, what they won, even Auburn last year. Auburn was able to run the ball. They could spread you out, but they would run the football at the end of the day. So that's what you have to do. And like you said, you mentioned Stanford, how they were able to run the ball. But you have to be very balanced also. It's got to be a combination. Now, people are going to load the box and stop the run, and you got to be able to stand back and protect and throw the ball down the field. But it's all about defensively. When we look at it, we want to make a team one-dimensional. And how you make a team one-dimensional, you have to go stop the run, and you force them to throw the ball. Because when you throw that ball, you got a chance to go get a sack, you got a chance to tip the ball, you got a chance to go get interceptions. But it's a lot that comes into play when you But when you can hand it off, and you have two good backs like Malcolm Brown and Jonathan Gray, and the offensive line can move people out of the way. Just only thing you need to do, just get in the guy's way and just fill him up, and hope that our backs can make the cut and go run the ball, run behind their pads.
Hi, Coach. Have you allowed yourself personally a moment to think about what it's going to be like when you run out of that tunnel for the first time as head coach, and a historic moment on many levels?
Well, Matt, we was out there on Saturday, and I told the team, I said, you think about it, guys, a week from now it's going to be a seat on everywhere in this whole stadium, and it's going to be packed in, and it's going to be watching us all. But, you kind of stand there and you look around and you just look at the history and you look at all those names out there and just what has happened within the tradition and the pride that's been built within this program. Now you have a chance to go lead this football program. But it's going to be fun and exciting. But still, though, I had to take a step back, too, and just realize we need to go win this football game. We got to go play well, too, guys. Or I may not be enjoying that moment for very long.
You've talked about David Ash managing more than, forcing the issues. In your ideal system, would you like to see him this year throw 25 passes or even less a game?
Well, Kurt, that's going to depend on what the defense you play against and the style we play against and who we're playing. And it always depends on the type of game also. So it's never, you can never put a number on it, because you may have to go into some games, you may have to throw the ball over 30 times, who knows. But it just, whatever a defense is willing to give us, we got to take advantage of it offensively.
Charlie, how many true freshmen would you like to play on Saturday? How many do you expect to play, and anyone specific you can mention that's had a solid fall camp?
Well, I was just thinking, in the secondary, Jason Hall will be a freshman that will end up playing. And then at wide receivers, you may see a Foreman go out, Lorenzo Joe, but those are our receivers. All have a chance to go play on Saturday, just not knowing just exactly the number. But we have some freshmen that have done very well, has had a really good fall camp, so they're going to get an opportunity to go play.
Charlie, the Big 12 has been a league for so long. It's a track meet type of league where teams are averaging 40 points a game to win it. Do you want to play that way, or do you want to play kind of a different style?
Well, Mike, it's going to depend when we get into those games what teams are giving us and how, if we can go slow them down on defense, because that's going to be a big measuring stick for us if we can go out and defend the track meets.
Is winning this week against North Texas 27-10, is that a big step? Is that a good thing for you guys?
Well, I don't know what the score is going to be. 3-0 would be good for me, just as long as I get that first win. But I can't say what the score or what we're predicting. We need to go play well. A lot of times we make these predictions, and I tell them guys all the time, it's always hard when you're favored to win, which you're taking over for the first time. But you just want to get a team out there with just emotion and energy and just play well.
Charlie, do you know that the mindset of the team has changed and it's where you want it to be, or are you hoping that it's changed?
Well, Chip, as the game get closer, you like for the build-up. We had a team meeting this morning. I said, hey, it's game week. We have a lot of time to get ready for that game on Saturday. And each and every day, you guys will be giving tips where we break it down just day by day, or what we're trying to focus on and what we're trying to get accomplished. But, the game is Saturday. We don't play it today. We can't play it today. We can't play it tomorrow. But by the game time, we will have the team ready to go play.
Steve over here on the left.
Coach, so much of defense is predicated on what you guys can do against first down, on the offense on first down. How have y'all done in the camp between your own team about limiting the offense on first down, and do you have anything planned special?
Well, see, what we're able to do is we go first down mix. Like, that is built in our script and the practice, and it's good on good, and we get 6 plays, where the offense get their 6 and the defense get theirs. And it's all about, you want to stop a team on first down because you like to get it on second down. You like for them to be behind the chains. One of the toughest things on second down is to get a team where it's 4 to 6, because you're in that window there where they have an opportunity where it can be run or pass, and you're kind of playing a guessing game on defense. You like for those situations to be second and long, then you kind of have a better feel for the offense and because they're going to – because if you get to the second long, they're going to try to get it managed where they can get back to 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. But second and 4 to 6, they have a chance to get a first down to keep the chain moving. So we've done very well. That's why it's always about first down mix at practice, because the first down is a very critical down.
Hey, Coach, have you made a final determination on how many games like Desmond Harrison, DJ, Josh Turner will miss?
I haven't, those guys have had an unbelievable camp. He's done everything we asked. But they will not play in this first game, but have not just set the number of how many they're going to miss.
Coach, so much has been about the toughness, instilling it. We see a lot of the bull in the ring type stuff from practice. How do you like your trenches right now, both sides of the line?
Well, Dennis, if we're ever going to win, we have to win up front. And it starts with the offensive line and D-line. And you like just how much we have a chance for those guys to do go compete, because you do see the circle drill, and then you see 3-on-3, and then goal line. And goal line is a good measuring stick, too. And the thing I like about goal line is in such close, confined area that it's hard for a guy to get hurt. He's pound, just come off the ball, and not just make it 4th and 1, see if the offense can go score. But that's the way it's going to be won, and that's where it's got to be built up front. Because I always say, little guys, they're just going to talk and they just do all the chatter. But the game is going to be won with big guys getting off blocks with the D-line, offensive line, reestablishing the line of scrimmage, knocking people back.
Going back to something that Chip was asking about, just mindset. A lot of the guys that are here came from very successful high school programs, right? But 8 wins, 9 wins, 8 wins, whatever. How do you teach winning? I mean, winning is a mindset. How do you teach that, instill with a championship of winning, actual winning?
Well, it's a build-up, and what has to happen, Brian, it's got to be started in January, and that's why you go through the off-season programs, and you go through spring practice, and you come back with summer conditioning. But it's a mindset, and the thing that they have to realize is, why go through all this hard work, do the things you do, and be as talented as you are, and not want to go win a football game and go play at your best? And it's all about them playing at their top level. If you can get them to go compete at the ability that they've been blessed with, then you have a chance to go win some games. But it's a mindset, and it's something that has to be just talked about over and over. Some days they don't want to go out and practice hard. Okay, you just lost a football game. But the mindset is, hey, we got to go compete each and every day. It starts at practice, and it continue on, not only at practice, but in the meeting rooms. It's how you go approach the meeting, how your focus is in the meeting room. Are you willing to learn? If you're willing to learn, and then you can take the learning from the classroom to the practice field, then you have a chance to go out and compete. And the mindset with winning it all, because now all of a sudden you're sitting there. Because when you build confidence and you have confidence within yourself, then the winning is going to take care of it.
Got here, was this team mentally broken?
I don't know if it was mentally broken, but where you made the point where guys, they've come from really good programs where they're used to the winning state championships and they're playing for state championships. And then when you get this class that came in, and this was kind of the class that said, hey, we're going to reestablish the foundation, put the pride and tradition back into this program, and it didn't go so well when you look at the last 3 years, what has happened with this group of young men. But the thing about it, they have a chance now to really put a stamp on this program and leave their mark, which is great because you have a season to get it done, and that's why I'm really excited just to see how well this senior class is going to come together and watch it happen.
Charlie, with everything that was on your plate, was this as challenging an offseason as you had, and did it feel today when you got up like, all right, that's over, we can finally get to business?
Yeah, it was. I don't know if it was so much challenging because you just look at all off seasons and you want to make sure that they all go to work and have the right mindset when they go to work. But what's been great has been no resentment. You know, I've had to discipline some players, but still though, the majority, the 90% came to work each and every day, and they wanted to get better, and they wanted to them as themselves. They wanted to make sure that, you know what, it's all about me developing as a person and as a player.
Coach, how much do you learn about your staff this week, different than any other week, and also in a game with guys that you brought in from different programs and you haven't worked with in a game environment yet?
What we try to do on Saturday, Roger, is just make sure that it was more of a mock where we got guys and where we just did different situations. And now on Thursday, I'd like to put the headsets on because now it's a lot of guys that never been on headsets, never heard the communication back and forth and what's being said. And all those things are still this week. We need to just really get cleared up where guys really know because, like you said, a lot of guys have never worked together on the staff. So now, with their mindset, it'll be good just to see this week and how it happens and how it unfolds. Because we get to go out today and practice, but when I delivered the message this morning to the team, you know, it's about their focus and preparation, not only theirs but also the coaches, and make sure we stay on point and make sure that we each and every day we give them a tip to make them better. You know, how can this make you a better player, and how can we get ready? How can this be game ready for us also?
Charlie, I know you've talked about Nick Rose and Will Russ throughout camp. What's your level of comfort right now with the kicking game, given how in an opener, special teams are so critical, and a block kick or a big return can swing things in a game like this?
Special teams is so critical, and a lot of times offense, we talk about defense, and we talk about special teams, but we just kind of brush over it. We have to win on special teams because this is a team last year that led the country in the block kicks. I think they blocked 5 punts last year, so you have to be able to protect, and that can change the game. If you watch teams that lose games, a lot of times something happened in the special teams where it's a block punt or a kickoff return or a punt return, you know, where guys are just jogging down the field. But our whole mission has been we're going to put starters on special teams, so you'll see starters out on special teams. And I tell them this, I say, listen, if you can't play on special teams, you can't play on offense or defense. So don't come asking me why I'm not in the game, because I'm going to say to you, well, if we had you on special teams, you couldn't get it done. So don't tell me you can go play another position when you couldn't play it on special teams. But special teams is very critical.
Charlie, for a couple of decades at least, no walk-ons played here other than maybe in the kicking game. What was it about Dylan and Ty and the walk-ons in general that wanted you to give them a shot?
Well, just how hard they've worked, and I've always felt like this. Even though a guy may be a walk-on, he's not on scholarship because, you know, his ability. But if he come into this program and work, then he can earn that scholarship. But you look at what Haynes have done and what Ty has done, and even Boyer with our deep snapper. You have some guys that are walk-ons that have really contributed to this program. They're going to get a chance to go play because, you know, I look at why hold them back. There's no reason to hold them back because they're a walk-on. You know, if they're good enough, they're going to play.
Charlie, what's your biggest concern right now?
Just our preparation, how we just go through this week, and then just see the team and just see what their mindset is going to be each and every day. School, you know, we get these next 2 days where we don't have any school, but when school gets in session on Wednesday, then you see guys kind of change because now, you know, they're running from class and it's a lot on their mind, there's a lot going on with them. But it's just say if we can continue to stay focused in those hours that we do get them, because I want them to enjoy it when they're not around the building, the facility. I want them to enjoy just being a college student also. But when it's time for us to lock in and get focused, we need their time and we need their mindset.
Charlie, you talked a little bit about your emotions, but go back to that, I guess, the build up to that game against Kentucky in 2010 at Louisville, which was your first game as a head coach. Kind of contrast that to where you are now. Different feelings, similar feelings? What's the picture like inside of you right now?
Well, Chuck, that was such a different feeling for me because that's the first time as a head football coach, and then there was a really good Kentucky team. When you look at that, Cobb out there, wide receiver, and they had some really good players. And we were just, at that time, we were just trying to just piece it together there at Louisville and just put a team out there. And you watch this, the first half, I mean, we didn't play well at all. I kind of teased Marcus Smith, who was a first-round pick to the Eagles. Marcus was on the field, and they lined up in what they called a wildcat formation, and Cobb was back at quarterback. They snapped the ball to him. He goes down the sideline 53 yards. Marcus kind of just stood there and looked at him. And then he come off and he said, "Coach, I didn't know he had the ball." I said, "Well, he just scored a touchdown. Somebody had the ball." And then Preston Brown was in there. But we had some guys that, in that game that ended up being really good players for us. But, this one's different now that I've been through it and I've seen it a lot for the first time. But there's going to be a first just in the stadium. And there's going to be a lot of emotion on Saturday. I know that. Just running through the tunnel is going to be something special. But it's just excitement. But I'm just so excited just seeing the team. I want to watch this football team go play. And I think they're tired of hitting one another and they're ready to hit someone else. And I think that's what's going to be exciting for me.
Hey, Coach, a few months ago you took away certain things, like you took the decals off the helmets and things in the locker room where they couldn't step on it. Have you given those things back to the guys yet?
Well, we talked about it, and you'll get the players up here in a second. I told them on Saturday that I think they've earned the right to get the decal back on their helmet, and they could earn the right to raise the horns. But it's something simple. When I said it out there at practice, they all just start screaming, "Oh, we can do that! We finally can do that!" But no, it's something they've worked for now, and they've earned that right just because of their hard work. But they deserve it. But in the locker room, it's only time I will ever remove the rope from around it is on game day. Because when we stand on game day, that's what we're playing for. We're playing for one another, and it's the pride in what it means. And that's why I'm gonna remove it only on game day. But they can raise it. They can raise their horns down. They'll have it on their helmet, the decal. But other than that, in the locker room, it stays the same.
Time for two last questions.
Charlie, unless I've missed this, the release that is being circulated does not have a depth chart in it. I mean, do you not believe in one, or do we put too much emphasis on that, or what are your thoughts on a two deep?
You put too much emphasis on it. No, no, just kidding. Hey, midweek I'm gonna release a depth chart, and what I said earlier is that in the secondary we're still trying to make sure we have the guys in the right spot, even with the offensive line, because in the wide receiver with the guys that we do have suspended. But just want to make sure when we release it, this is the final depth chart. This is where they are and what they're going to play on Saturday.
Charlie, you kind of hit on this a little bit just now, but in turn, you mentioned depth being a concern earlier. What positions on this team do you feel good about depth, and what positions do you feel like maybe lack depth or just have young depth that's inexperienced? Well,
when you start the defensive line, you have some guys there because you have your first three, and then Ridgway's had an unbelievable count. Norman has done great, Blewett, and then Cottrell. So you have some guys there. And even at linebacker, because you still have Santos is sitting there, him and Steve Edmond are two really key guys in the middle for us. And then on the outside, you have Nashawn Hughes have had a great camp, and he's playing behind Jenkins right now, and then with Cobb and Cole at the other backer. So you have the defense with the front seven, you feel pretty solid with your depth. The wide receivers is just a good collection. It's a lot of guys there, but the only thing concerns you is just the experience, because you talk about a bunch of freshmen that have not played at all. And then you look at the running back. I love our 1 and 2. I mean, there's not 1 and 2. They're both ones when you look at Malcolm and Jay Gray. I mean, you think about that punch right there, and with Jay Gray coming back from that Achilles, how hard he's working. Then with Malcolm, you get a guy who can run behind his pads and run downhill with Malcolm. Then you can hand the ball off to Jay Gray. And he's a guy who can make somebody miss and has enough speed and quickness to get on him. But the quarterback has had an unbelievable camp. But when you look at the offensive line, we still just trying to just build it where we get 7 or 8 guys there at the O-line position. We're still working on that, but Coach Wickline has done a great job there. So we're just really solid with our defensive front and our linebackers, collection of wide receivers, but the running backs with the 1 and 2 punch.
Coach, over the past couple of months, of course, you've implemented all these changes, and we keep asking all the players what's been the toughest thing for them. But kind of flipping things around, what has been the toughest thing for you in taking over this team?
Well, just a total mindset and just building their confidence and just getting it built back up, and because that's where it all starts. Because when a guy start really believing in himself, and then he start feeling good about himself, then you're going to see really good results. And that's what we're trying to build. And tell our guys all the time, we don't need to disrespect players. We don't need to talk down to them. Let's just build them up and just make them feel good. And so that when it's time for them to do anything, whether it be in the classroom, on the field, off the field, wherever it may be, they have enough confidence, enough belief in themselves that they can go get it done.
Thank you, Coach.
All right. Thank you. Yes. Thanks.